Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is the James Ballish Show, and I am your host, filling in for James Ballish. My name is Michael, and I just want to say that I am here to fill in for James Ballish because he wanted to be interviewed, so he asked me to be the host of this episode to interview him. So without further ado, over the phone waves, let's go out to caller from 631, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ref James B, and his real name is James Ballish. He is the host of the Spreaker web radio show. James, I have a question for you, and that is, when did you actually start watching wrestling? And follow-up question after that is, when did you actually decide to be a referee instead of a wrestler? Because I've heard stories that you were first training to be a wrestler, but there was some doubts in yourself as far as taking the moves, so you decided to be a referee, which in the same way referees do, in the same way, get taken down by wrestling moves. But in the end, you became a referee. What's the story behind that?
Well, I started watching wrestling about the year of 2003, 2004. I started watching WWE Monday Night Raw, and I fell in love with it ever since then. And there's this one big moment that really stood out. This was like 2007, I think, 2008. It was John Cena versus the Great Khali at One Night Stand for the WWE Championship. And this is because I didn't realize how strong John Cena was at the time, and to this day, I still can't believe he was that strong at that moment to pick up the Great Khali and attitude adjust him right onto the ground from the audience crowd area, and was able to attitude adjust Great Khali onto the ground. And from then, I've been hooked onto WWE. Even before then, I've been hooked onto WWE since, like I said, 2003. But the big major change was in 2010 when I actually said to myself, I want to do something that involves wrestling. I either want to be a ring announcer, and in 2006, I said to myself, I want to be a ring announcer for WWE. I really want to be a ring announcer. I got to learn everybody's names, everybody's weights, everybody's hometown. I got to remember all this, and I got to memorize it because I want to be a ring announcer. And then I changed my mind in 2007. I want to be a commentator because then I get to be on the air. I get to have my voice heard. I get to still be with the company and travel around the world and be heard on the television, but not seen all that much. Then in 2011, I said to myself, you know what? I gotta find out what wrestling schools are around me, and what age can I train at, and what do they bring to you on the table. And in 2012, I was brought to this one school called Ringside Pro Wrestling, and they give you a few categories of options of training under. You could be training under as a referee, a referee, wrestler, manager, or valet. And I decided to be, at first, a wrestler. As you said, you've heard stories. I was too afraid of taking the moves, and I just couldn't deal with the fact that I was taking big moves and being on people's shoulders. I didn't like that. So within a month, maybe 2 months later, I decided to be a referee, and I've been falling in love with being a referee. Yes, referees do take big moves, but in my case so far, I haven't taken those big moves. Not saying I won't ever, but let's hope by the time that comes down the road, I've learned how to take those bumps and take those moves so that I'm prepared for it. But yeah, I've been refereeing since September of 2013. Since September of 2012, I've been refereeing, and I've refereed Greg the Hammer Valentine's match when he came to our company, and it was actually a really good experience to be in the ring with him, as well as a bunch of other people who have worked for a company I've worked for, East Coast Professional Wrestling, Long Island Division. It's just a huge honor that ECPW Long Island, or ECPW the company, would give me a chance on the Long Island division, and it's such an honor. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I have one question, and that question is, one more question is that you said that referees do take a lot of bumps, and they do. They take some of the massive moves sometimes, as you can see from the past in WWE. But who actually gave you the ring name Ref James B? Because I've heard rumors and stories from different people saying that it was one of the referees, it was maybe one of the managers, probably the promoter. Who exactly gave you that name, Ref James B, and how did it come about to being your official ring name for over probably the year and a half that you have refereed for? I mean, there have been maybe one or two shows where you tried and get your name changed, but the ring announcer accidentally messed up, and he additionally called you the rest of the night James B. Who gave you that name as a referee before, as your debut name?
Well, one of the ring announcers, the one ring announcer from the company ECPW, who goes by the name of Ryan Manchild Peterson, he gave me the ring name because my training school was having a seminar with WWE Hall of Famer Jimmy Hart, and Jimmy Hart was there to critique our matches that we put in front of him, and there to tell us what we needed to work on, what we needed to improve, and what he liked about our entire style. And I actually had a great time with that seminar. It's actually the first and only seminar I actually attended that involved a WWE legend and Hall of Famer, and it was a great experience to have worked with the Mouth of the South, WWE Hall of Famer Jimmy Hart, and that's actually where I actually picked up my ring name because I had a Facebook, and my Facebook's name used to be James B, and that's obviously where he got the name from, and he announced me in the ring for that impromptu match as Ref James B, and it just stuck with me, and I've been using it for the year and a half that I have been refereeing for East Coast Professional Wrestling, Long Island division, of course, and it's just such an honor to have a name chosen by a friend in the company, and it's such an honor. But I'm sorry I got to cut it short. Uh, Maybe next time I can come onto the show and have a longer interview, but I got to go right now. Michael, thank you for having me on. I just want to say it's a huge honor to have you host this episode for me and to interview me. Uh, Maybe sometime down in the future, I can have you ask me more questions, and I can really bring a show to life. But until then, I gotta say thank you for having me on tonight. And you can listen to me, the host, James Balish, on my Spreaker Web radio show more often starting sometime next week. Good night, and have a great night. Bye.